I wanted to start off by testing a little bit of my strength this morning with some push-ups, and I followed up with a V-sit. I've gained a little bit of weight, and I've been able to maintain a lot of my upper body handstand skills, and I still think I've maintained a pretty clean V-sit. I've noticed that a little bit of extra weight in the legs is noticeable for me and makes it a little bit harder. You can let me know in the comments if you think the handstand push-ups and the V-sits are improving or declining. When it comes to hanging, I found that I've no longer gotten such a huge stimulus from hanging from one arm, but I did find when I swung from one arm forwards and backwards, I got a really good activation in the back, in the rear delts and kind of the back half of the shoulder girdle. So I think I'll be trying to do more of these one-arm swings. When you use one limb instead of both of your limbs, you can articulate the one limb better, and you can actually produce more force than one limb. It's called a bilateral deficit if you want to look into it, but you're stronger on one arm than one arm is when you use both. Mainly, I think, because you probably just focus more of your power through the one arm. So after that, I did some air chairs. These weren't the best sets, but put in the time, accumulate the time in the position, you'll get a little bit better. I fell a few times. I kind of tapped. This right here probably was my best hold, but none of them were particularly all that good. I did a little bit of strength work with the weights, doing some calf raises. These are a pretty good way for me to train the legs without adding too much fatigue. If I were to do a lot of heavy squats or a lot of jump squats, I fatigue the whole body more than I really would like to keep my training at the high frequency that I do of every day. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe. All that will help me out. It's very important to control the eccentric when you're lifting for hypertrophy, which just means control the way down. And when you're doing calf raises on a deficit, or an incline where your toes are elevated, it's really important to break down the motion between when your heels are above your toes and then when your heels are below your toes into two little separate bits until you can really master the two motions and put them together smoothly. So this is kind of the swinging motion I'm going to be working with when it comes to hanging. And I'll do it with one arm because that's where I really get the nice feeling in the back and the rear delts and the back of the arm and in my back. And finally, I did a little bit different kind of stretching today. I did more of a ground flow. I'd say this is like, they have shadow boxing, they have shadow wrestling. I consider this like a shadow grappling with the ground. If you're familiar with jiu-jitsu, that kind of crawling and scooting across the ground that some people like to do. This wasn't my most interesting session I've ever done, but I really recommend getting into some sort of ground flow to stretch and to work the legs in some way. I didn't do as much scooting as I would like to have done, but that's the only thing I would have changed about the practice. I didn't take it too intense. Sometimes I get a little camera shy. I do a much of my better flows when it's like very late at night and I'm more exhausted. I kind of end up being more creative and more expressive with my movements, more confident and all that. But I got to put it on camera for you guys to see and for myself to, look at it and direct the change for myself. I do a lot of spins and corking spin downs through the knees. And this kind of elbow stand is very low to the ground, so it works pretty good with these ground flows. And I just tried to keep the tension through the joints. I'm trying to build up the joints with this movement. You don't really exercise the muscles too hard, but the joints and the connective tissues in the knees really get worked a good amount. And you can articulate the hips. You do work out the hips a pretty good amount with this kind of ground flow that I'm doing here. I only wish that I incorporated more duck walking or more walking and more scooting into this practice. But overall, I'm pretty happy with it. You'll probably see a little bit more of this as I've grown a little bit tired of my nighttime stretching routine. So thank you guys for watching. Like the video, comment, and subscribe. Bye-bye.